Hello, my name is Aníbal Barron, and this is assignment number 4. So, I'm supposed to talk about the last presentation that I did. So, I'm gonna pick the one that we did in class, which was about sketches. And mine, just to remind you of it, was about an app that was for our phones to help people to get ambulance and assistance from the hospitals. So, on the points of the homework, the first one said that if I was aware of the type of audience that I was going to have. To be honest, I did, because since they were sketches in which our audience, in this case our classmates, didn't know what we were going to present, I have to assume that my audience was unaware. So I did know that they were unaware of what I was going to present, so I had to explain myself, and I had to do it in a certain way that it will be thorough, that they will completely understand what I was saying. So yes, that was the part of the audience. Now, referring to the types of audience, the 3 types that we seen on Blackboard, which are unaware, indifferent, and unfavorable. When we're talking with this kind of audiences, there are many things that you can do to get their attention, to get them involved in the presentation, and to make them get what you're trying to say. If it's to buy a product, to understand your presentation, to some exposition or something. So in this case, it was the app. So my goal was to make them want to get the app and want to use it, of course, because it was to save people. So when it comes to unaware audiences, some of the actions that I think that they'll be very useful when they are, if I encounter that kind of audience, the first one was to be very extensive in my explanation of what my product is, in this case, the app. And I started by making questions so that I could get their attention. So another thing is to give important facts, well, more interesting than important, things that will get them into the subject so that they can pay attention and start understanding what you're talking about. Another thing that you can do is make examples. If your product is going to satisfy a need, which is something that most products do, that is the goal, to satisfy a need, then you have to make examples of what that product is going to help you and why you should get it. So those are for unaware audiences. The next ones are indifferent audiences. So the things that you can do to make them get into the presentation and into what you're saying is to throw some useful facts, because indifferent people, they are obviously not that interested in your product, or they are bored or something like that. So you're going to want to get them involved. So to use some useful facts will really help, because they will be like, oh, I didn't know that. Or they will get the idea of what your product is. Another thing is to give life examples so that they can get interested in it, because they're going to relate to those situations, to those examples that you're giving about everyday life. And another thing that you can do is compare them. You can compare them to other products so they can get interested by relating that product to another product that they use or another product that they have. That way you can get them into the presentation and into listen to you and what you have to say about your product. And the last one is unfavorable. Unfavorable audiences are, of course, going to be against your product or against what you're trying to say or what you're trying to prove. In that case, you have to be more thorough, more direct on the facts and on the things that your product satisfies and why it is good. The main thing will be to focus on your strong points, because that way they won't be able to be like, oh, but that's not useful, or I cannot use that. No, because there are going to be like the strong points of your product. Like, for example, my app that would talk about that you can call personally, like directly, to the reception from the ER at the hospital. That's something very useful, and no one can say that that is not useful. So those kind of things will help. To talk about the importance of your product, about the importance of satisfying that need. That's another thing that you can do, because they cannot get past that. Of course, they're gonna have to listen to the ways to satisfy that need. So they're gonna have to listen to you. And another one is to compare again, because by comparing with other products or other things that relate to your presentation, can make them get the point that you're trying to say, to get them to be reasonable and to change their minds into saying, oh, okay, so this product has this stuff that this one doesn't have. And they're going to start like that. So you can do all of these things to change the way that your audience is looking at you, the way that your audience is looking at your presentation when they have these different postures and these different ways of thinking. So those are my points, and I hope that you find them useful, and well, there are good examples of what we can do with these types of audiences. Thank you.